Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. I'm Joe. I'm here with Zombie Grub tonight, and we're getting ready to go into some Thursday night StarCraft 2, which, if you haven't been following, we are now covering StarCraft 2 on both days of the week instead of Brood War. But I think we do have like a really fun series lined up, so I'm pretty excited to jump into it.
Yeah, let's do just that. Game number one starting off now.
Alright, so spawning here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing for UConn, it is the green Protoss player. Give it up for Printf.
In the top left, as the red Zerg, he is PSO. He is about to get cannon rushed.
Yeah, if you guys don't know about, if you guys do not know about PSO, or Printf rather, he is exclusively a cannon rusher. He streams, he doesn't play with a barcode. He even has a spreadsheet where he tracks all of his wins and losses and what he could have done differently in each situation to be sure he wins. We do see the first pylon coming down now.
Huh.
This is a bit further away. Printf a lot of the times is up in your face. He'll cannon rush in places where other people won't. But maybe he's showing us a little something different.
Yeah, that's very odd. Now, the assumption, of course, is that everyone knows Printf will cannon rush you, so PSO goes for, like, not even an early pool, like, just the early pool, but also for, like, what I assume is going to be Roaches and Ravagers, although, okay, there it is. But to just, like, show the pylon and that it's the outward position was a little funky, the Overlord did see where the first pylon went down. I guess it doesn't matter. Point is, you're going to know exactly what Printf is doing. So he does have this gateway variation that kind of turns into a shield battery contain, and that can work out well. And of course, he gets a lot of scouting because there's nothing that PSO can do about it.
Yeah, it's really tough to deal with a player that only does one thing and just does it really, really well here. And I mean, he knows that the pylon's there. I don't think he knows there's going to be a gateway coming in with the cannon. But I think you can almost anticipate it with how far out it is. You know you're not going to be dying to any kind of just strictly cannon rush here. And I'm wondering, we're going to see him go up to 2 gateways. Does he then reinforce the Zealot push with like cannons on the high ground or something crazy like that?
I would love him to go for pylons, additional pylons at the front, and then do that shield battery container I was talking about. But I suppose his idea now is just to get as many units as possible, because what he scouted was something that is like technically very greedy for PSO. He's going for high tech, no units, and I don't really like. I get the idea behind it because he's so worried about a contain that you just get a Nidus Swarm off the bat, you get around it. But this is such an early Nidus Swarm and so unnecessary too for what Printf actually ended up doing. There's not going to be that many units, and if Printf just got a couple of cannons back at home, I don't think it would be that bad.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's maybe overreacting to what he saw here. As you obviously, there's nothing back at home, and instead he's like playing it with a little bit of a safer attack. And it almost feels like he's playing right into PSO's hands as those first lings get loaded up here. Every single drone going in as well. I think no matter how this goes down, we're going to see a base switch.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Printf didn't prepare more for this. He had such good scouting and has to know that a lair could mean, well, either a Spire or an Nidus Swarm, and both are very dangerous. Lings actually get us around on the Stalker. That wasn't supposed to happen. Things not looking so great for Printf for the start.
Yeah, and they're starting to damage down those Zealots. There is one remaining that's going to be enough to clean up those... Oh, not even enough to clean up those Lings. And Printf is now just kind of cranking out a couple units at a time and trying to make something happen here. But the DPS of his opponent just massively outplays him. He does have a probe on the other side of the map, though, so he can...
Uh-oh. Okay, good. Printf was just shy of having enough for a Nexus, so he had to return minerals in the probes. There you go. I guess this was his plan all along.
Yeah, I don't know how this plays out now. So, like, Printf we know is a cannon rusher, right? So if you change bases, does he then throw down a forge and cannon rush again? It's just like, oh, it's just a new game. This is cool.
I don't know. He is eventually going to lose all his tech at home, but it's going to take a long time. I mean, this is not a very high DPS group of units here.
Oh, okay. It actually looks like coming back to try to defend his PSO. And his arm... Oh.
Well, Stalker should have this, no problem. It was a mistake to let that one Stalker gets around in the first place. And 4 Stalkers, like, yeah, they'll just run back to the shield battery. And I think PSO, despite his attempts to hard counter Printf, is still dead.
Yeah, this is really weird. I kind of thought PSO was just going to stay there and take print F space. And try to force things to get like super weird that way, but coming home definitely seemed like a mistake there. And he had full vision. He had to know what print F had in his base.
Yeah. It's too bad. You face a cannon rusher that you know is not just as simple as, you know, I get a pool first and I attack, because that's what you would do on ladder if you figured out they were cannon rushing you. But Printf just has so many different types of cannon rushes that you do try and kind of think out of the side of the box. But I think he went too outside the box on that one. Like, he could have gotten a hatchery. He could have canceled a lair. He could have gone for roaches and ravagers, not a Nidus. Like, there's so many better things to do than a Nidus Worm, I think, in that situation.
Yeah, but either way, it's going to put UConn up 1-0 over their opponents, Chicago. And when we come back, we're going to have another terrific match. That's going to be OMG a Banana versus H-Jax. Those are two GM players, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
But she said, trust me, these are the stories we will tell. As I stood frozen, infinite, I almost fell. But I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out.
Right from the start, we knew that this would never be now, baby. Be now, baby. We're miles apart, and we just wanna let it free now, baby. Free now, baby. 'Cause I'm only living for today, and I know you're understanding what I say. We're out of time, so I'm keeping my heart safe and sound. Safe and sound. Safe and Right from the start, we knew that this would never be now, baby. Be now, baby. We're miles apart, and we just wanna let it free now, baby. Free now, baby. 'Cause I'm only living for today, and I know you're understanding what I say. We're out of time, so I'm keeping my heart safe and sound. Safe and sound. Safe and
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back. We're going to be jumping into our 2v2 between UConn and Chicago. I think one of the players had a small schedule issue, so we're just kind of rearranging to be a bit accommodating. These guys are not full-time players, obviously. They're collegiate e-athletes, so we try to make things happen for them to make sure everyone can participate. And I think we're into our game, so let's go ahead and hop back in.
All right, in the top right has the red Zerg. It is PSO. And his teammates, Unbowed. It's the green Zerg.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the purple Zerg player, Rookwood. And his teammate, the blue Protoss player, Turkey Dano.
Yep. So, University of Connecticut down in the bottom left, University of Chicago in the top right. Chicago already down one, as PSO, also obviously a part of this 2v2 team, took the first loss against Prnef just the previous game. This usually would be the third game played, but as Joe was saying, like professional players, schedule problems, like this was played out first. So regardless of how this goes, the series has not ended. It's still just the 2-0 or 1-1.
Yeah, now one thing Rookwood did say to me before this game got started was, we are going to get all in so hard. Please don't make fun of my opening. So I'm curious if they know something we don't. Like maybe these guys are super, super cheesy. I don't think we've seen much of Chicago, but like, you know, they've been playing in the round robin, the group stages, and they may have developed a bit of a reputation. Like the 2v2 teams, I think, are like super stylistic in the CSL. Teammates get their like one strategy down and they tend to just use it.
Yeah. Well, 2v2 just allows more possibilities for that, I would think, right? Like 1v1, yeah, you have your print Fs, and I suppose on the very, very high leagues, you have your Haas's and whatnot. But really, the better you play to the mainstream, the better you're going to be. But in 2v2, there are some really cool original ideas and combinations that work because the game isn't balanced around 2v2. So double Zerg, double 12 pool can be tricky to hold, especially on a map it doesn't have a shared entrance like Overgrown Facility, but it looks like our purple-blue team here has prepared quite well.
Yeah, I guess a good preliminary read there by UConn, and they're already in a position to hold all of this. The Baneling bust is coming, and oh boy, is that a lot of Banelings. They're going to be able to bust right through that front gate, but there's 2 gateways with production. Turkey Dano really needs to be making things out of those gateways, though.
Well, you should, oh, well, yeah, been unfortunate to let every unit take the splash damage there. Really should have tried backing off and splitting, but there was going to be enough lings that everything was going to die anyways, but the probes are going to be able to be hit. Oh, no. Oh, God. Yeah, all the probes going to go down here.
This is super tough because Turkey Dano is the stronger of these 2 players, and that's not generally who you want to sacrifice in the beginning here. Rookwood's forces will arrive, and the Banelings should eventually help clean up this Ling force. But, I mean, it feels like the damage has already been done. Turkey Dano down to 2 probes. And it's not like he's sitting on some army where he can counterattack. Those 2 probes are his entire supply count right now.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight 2020, probably should have just double, triple walled and left the units like way behind. But that simple mistake has left Turkey Dano just simply out of this game. Rookwood would have to have the best counter possible, which they're not going to try. GG.
All right, so moving quickly is this series. UConn puts another one on the board, or rather Chicago puts one on the board, bringing it to a tied series here, which means at very least we are going to the 4th match, so don't go anywhere. Super close series. I think we have OMG a Banana versus H-Jacks coming up next, and we will be right back.
Light falls lightly but she said, trust me. These are the stories we will tell. As I stood frozen, infinite, I almost fell. But I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out. I'm no
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We are hopping straight into our game. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner, it is the yellow Protoss player, OMG a banana.
It's up right. As the pink Protoss, he is H-Jax.
So these guys are like pretty similar skill level. I think they probably play each other quite a bit. OMG a banana on that Sloth Academy team. H-Jax playing for Rival Gaming. And I think this is a fun kind of match to see in the CSL. They're both very high-level players, but it's not the top pros. So you maybe see like some different strategies you wouldn't normally see. Oftentimes a bit more aggression, but it's high enough level that you can still kind of appreciate how good the guys are at the game. You're not watching, you know, like a Platinum just play a Diamond in the CSL.
All right, cool. Yep, go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a mirror matchup here. H-Jax is known to be like a pretty cheesy player. Although I know he's been kind of evolving more towards macro as you get better. And I'll be curious to see how confident he feels. I think the less confident he feels, probably the more aggressively he's gonna open here.
Okay. All right, good to know. I mean, PvP, it can really work out well for aggressive players. So regardless of his like style elsewhere, I suppose, showing it off in this matchup could work well. We have a ton of builds that are revolve around a proxy pylon, slow warp-ins, proxy gateways and fast warp-ins, Stargate proxies, one base Stargates versus two, like right, like it's a lot of one base openers. PvP, I think, is a pretty fun matchup to watch because it can really have decisive early game, mid game, late game. So here we actually have Oh My God a banana going for that one base Stargate and then a shield battery as well. Wait, was it someone else or did he cancel it? I think he canceled it, but I am a little sick, so I also could have imagined it.
Yeah, he's also moving out at the same time with these two adepts. They might get caught by the stalkers of H-Jax moving out here. And we're going to see how both these players micros. First Valley goes off by OMG a banana, but H-Jax is going to be able to chase these adepts down a little bit. Force them to maybe shade when they don't want to. But he's actually aggressively going right for that base, and there's nothing there to greet him.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to actually be caught like that when you open up adepts. The stalkers, they can go look for them, but if they miss them, then it can be a risk. But when they find them, they do that upfront damage. They give enough time for the Protoss player to put down a wall with a pylon. Then the adept opener can sometimes feel really well, silly and useless.
Yeah, and once again, H-Jack's going to catch these guys trying to get up that ramp here. And OMG a banana, I think, is more just trying to poke and distract than anything else because his first Oracle is already out and making its way across the map here.
Yeah. What's funny about that wall off I was just talking about, right, is that it can stop the stalkers from going in. A lot of people just let the pylon finish because they'll figure they'll tear it down later. But then the stalkers can't get back to the main and help out into the Oracle. So I'm not sure this is going to happen here, and this shield battery is going to ensure that the probes just they simply won't die. Actually, the Oracle is not going to get nearly as many as it should.
Yeah, it is going to start to get some work done. The Stalkers do come up, and they are going to push it away. Going to see if OMG Banana is on top of his micro here. He does get it out quite quickly, but that's opening up a bit of a space for the Adepts to try to make something happen in the natural.
But HX is responding very well. The shield battery in the main was perfect. Didn't quite cover the later, the ends of that gas guy. So the reason I think the probes died at all. And then he doesn't build probes at the natural for some time. So there's nothing really there to be killed. Now he's got some defense there. Stalkers, they won't DPS the Adepts down fast enough. So, okay, if Oh My God Banana was focus firing, he would have gotten quite a few probe kills. But the focus firing only happened after like 2 full shots. So 4 probes in total is not that great.
Yeah, he is now joining up the second Oracle, and I think that's going to be a lot more effective at overwhelming the shield battery, but H-Jax on top of things has actually split up 3 Stalkers that are going to be there to defend, and I think he's just doing a really good job of holding on here as he continues to power up.
Yeah. Void Ray Immortal follow-up. If H-Jax going for Blink is going to be straight up hard countered by what Banana is following up here, but if the blink was a little bit faster, there's always that timing where it's only one immortal or only one void ray, and you can still do something. But now with the timing on this blink, I think HJax might just fall behind. I mean, he has fallen behind actually from just not building as many probes. Not that he really like lost that many, and then he's gonna get into this inferior tech as time goes on. Banana adding on Immortal's Void Rays is good for Stalkers, and then eventually you can add on Charge, perhaps even faster than H-Jax will. That'll be a better looking army.
Yeah, he's just stuck on this kind of funky composition that worked really well to deal with what OMG Banana was throwing at him initially. But OMG Banana is just continuing to add on Void Rays and Immortals. Probably let that count go up by 1 more before he maybe starts thinking about moving across the map here. And I mean, this is just like the map control by the Oracles is devastating while all this is going on back at home.
Yeah. Well, 9 probes killed and the Oracle's still living is nice. The shield battery is supposed to help take care of everything, but they're both in the natural. Well, I thought Banana was going to go into the typical follow-up, but clearly I was wrong. Stargate and Fleet Beacon's on the way, so mass air game it is. And H-Jax did add on the charge immediately. So he is going into what I think would look more standard, but this robotics bay, what could that be for? If it's for disruptors, which kind of had their status kind of returned to them, as before this recent patch, everyone kind of agreed they kind of sucked. But if that's the case, disruptors aren't really going to help out against mass air, and specifically against phoenixes, if that were what Banana was doing, but it's carriers.
Yeah, playing an absolutely wacky game here. I'm not sure when H-Jax is going to be able to sniff this out. I mean, he's coming up with the Stalkers he made to try to poke around here, but when he sees this army, I'm thinking he's going to turn tail and run. And, ooh, even getting 2 of those stasis is just really painful when he, needs absolutely every unit he can get right now.
Yeah. Now, H-Jax really doesn't know what's going on, and seeing 2 Void Rays is, a little suspicious. It is not... Oh, grabs that one. That was nice. It's not the weirdest thing, because there is that moment where the Stalker count's bigger than whatever the Banana would have, and that's, where you got a couple Void Rays, but... Really, this is a telling sign that there is more coming from the Stargate, and H-Jax needs to recognize that. So I would even say cancel charge. It's not going to help him at all in the situation where getting enough Archons, enough Stalkers would, or if he possibly could, going in his own Stargates, but I think it's too late for that.
Yeah, he's even going up to 4 bases as H-Jax here, so maybe trying to get that economic lead that way. These Oracles are going to spot it almost immediately. It almost feels like everything that Banana is doing is just kind of catching H-Jax with his pants down here. The first carriers are starting to come out, and I think H-Jax is going to find out what a world of hurt he's in for very soon.
This is really bad. H-Jax also taking some damage from the Oracles still, as the 3rd base shield battery was not done. Really nicely handled here from Oh My God Banana. H-Jax, even if he did get to a Archon Stalker army, knowing exactly what he was up against, and he is trying to do that now, there's really no guarantee it would work. If you have a timing where there's 4 carriers, there's also 4 shield batteries, I'm thinking the shield batteries might still win out, and it's getting closer to that time. You know, we got 2 more carriers almost out already.
Yeah, he needs to be really careful not to bleed out any of these stalkers. All this anti-air firepower he has is going to be so critical if he's going to be trying to make any kind of hold. And even while H-Jax is trying to build his army up, OMG a Banana is across the map. He's placing stasis traps. He's trying to make these engagements go as favorably as possible for him.
I do think this is the one way Oh My God Banana could ruin his own game plan here, though. Like, there's not really a reason for him going for this type of army to be the aggressor, but feeling very confident after taking out so many stalkers, it ends up working out fine. Plus, he always has the option of a recall if it did end up being a bad idea. But doing this is where he does get the potential to be surrounded, and that would be where his army is the least effective. But it worked out totally fine.
Yeah, we are about to see a mothership at like 9 minutes with 135 supply. So Banana going for kind of the mean builds here, but it's seeming to do a really good job. H-Jax, on the other hand, trying to make something happen with these zealots. He's got the run by going on, but they can't really do anything about the carriers raining down on him from above.
I'm thinking, oh my god, Banana has already won this game. H-Jax just couldn't get the better economy. The scout came down pretty late on what exactly was happening, so he didn't quite take maybe as many risks as maybe he would have. His upgrades are going to be phenomenal, and that's one thing to his credit, but he wasted a lot of time losing probes to stasis trap. Losing probes to oracles and researching charge that just didn't end up helping out. And now that he has an okay composition, it's simply not large enough to take on his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe his hope is OMG Banana makes a slip up, right? Like right now he's moving off with a segmented piece of army. Recall obviously available, but you know, maybe he can make something happen here if he can catch a carrier or something, start whittling down those numbers. That would be one way for him to get in the game, but OMG Banana thinks better of it and pulls back that little probe force.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird thing to do anyways. But he does have recall, and I want to keep emphasizing that because that is going to let him peel off 4 carriers, snipe a main nexus, and get out. He's about to have double recall, actually. The Mothership Core, yeah, or Mothership, rather. Core doesn't exist anymore. Does have recall to herself. Now, recall in general was nerfed, but I mean, it was not a big staple strategy anyway, so I don't think it's too important to bring up, but there's more of a delay on the units when they get recalled. And that's a fairly large Archon Stalker army coming forward here.
Yeah, it's tough to engage this kind of cloud of units, though, and OMG Banana doing a good job of pulling up that ramp, making it hard for any kind of real concave to get formed here. H-Jax choosing to take this fight. His Archons clean up those interceptors pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
But he's got to get underneath this army and try to do some actual damage to the expensive units here.
Unfortunately, the Guardian Shield not really helping out the interceptors because they're going too far forward. So the Stalkers blink forward. Oh, God. And almost take out a carrier, but that's where the shield batteries really start to shine. Nothing on the ground to help take out the Immortals either. So the Guardian Shields have been constant, and the Immortals are now allowed to just rip away at the Stalkers.
Yeah, and just continuing to get right on top of this army is OMG a Banana. And now all the kind of Stalker buffer has melted. It's just the Archons mostly at this point. And I'm not sure what H-Jax is supposed to do other than turn tail and run. He's trying to kite back these interceptors a bit. Maybe take some of the firepower to the army, but he's even making zealots. And when you're fighting a Skytoss army and making zealots, that's not a great sign.
I mean, he did finally get rid of the Immortals and Sentries. That's where the Charge Lots do a decent job, but it was probably a little too late. Really, H-Jax just needed a stronger economy to support the type of army he was going for either a faster kill or maxing out much, much sooner. But the supply is telling the tale here. Unless Banana just simply ran out of interceptors, which I don't think is going to happen, the supply is absolutely... It's the victor is, oh my god, a Banana. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, he's playing it out patient, which I like. He's continuing to add on 3 carriers at a time. Like, at this point, why do something crazy and throw the game away? I don't think there's, like, a realistic chance of that happening. But, I mean, H-Jax got 1 good engagement off, so maybe he's a bit worried about it happening again. But now, at 170 supply, he feels comfortable going in for the kill move here. H-Jax dancing around, desperately trying to warp in a couple final Stalkers. And he's going to try to make this hold here and now.
Oh, well, it's not going so well. Even a Time Warp coming down, which is a fair thing to do. Your carriers are under attack from the Blink Stalkers. Maybe that's just the barest difference, but he doesn't really need it. He can kind of do whatever he wants, and again, recall available if things go topsy-turvy, but even abusing the map now, there's no way for the Archons to get underneath and hit those carriers.
Yeah, nice blink is going to catch one carrier out of position, but now he needs to find something here. And OMG of Banana can just retreat to that air gap here. The army of H-Jacks absolutely disappearing, whereas OMG of Banana's army is basically unscathed here. And I think this is going to be curtains for our UConn Protoss.
Yeah. GG. Some good ideas there, but just not backed up, I think, by a solid foundation of economy. And only at the very end, I think that HX even got a sentry for Guardian Shield, but it was always going to be tough. You didn't punish a person going for mass carrier, and that always feels bad.
All right, so we have we could be on match point next game here. We're going to be coming back with another 1v1 in just a moment, so don't go anywhere, guys, because we will be right back.
But she said, trust me, these are the stories we will tell. As I stood frozen, infinite, I almost fell. But I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out. I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We are jumping into Turkey Dano versus Pancakes. It's going to be on Battle on the Boardwalk here. This is potentially match point with Chicago taking a 2-1 lead over their opponents here as we hop into this fourth game.
Yep, if Pancakes takes it, then that will be the series.
So spawning
Whoop.
Okay. We've got a quick pause. Okay, looks like a sound issue.
Oh, Control S, Control M.
Can I all chat?
Did you set yourself as rough? Oh yeah, I mean I'm rough.
Okay. Looks like no
Cool.
advice needed here. Hopping back into the game.
Your highest tier ref. I'm pretty sure he's supposed to do it. I could do the countdown.
Game resumed.
And spawning here in the top right-hand corner, our red Protoss player playing for UConn. It is Turkey Dano.
The top left, as the blue Protoss, it is Pancakes.
Game paused.
Okay, looks like we're still having some audio issues.
Yeah. I mean, the only issue that I know of is, in fact, forgetting to put on Control S, but...
Or like your headphones are broken.
Yeah. I guess that could be it. Like, if he's just not hearing sound at all, or if it's, like, coming in every so often.
You ever have like a phone or something where you have to kind of wrap the headphone cable around it, like to get it to go in because the jack's kind of broken?
I don't think I've ever had to do that.
Maybe I just didn't take good care of my stuff in college. All my stuff was like semi-broken. Craigslist used stuff.
Well, then the best thing to do in this situation is the good old plug it, take it out, plug it back in, and then the restart, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Hopefully he can get this sorted out quickly. Okay, it looks like it's working. We're going to hop right back into the game here. And hopefully we can get another quick countdown and just get into the action, because this is probably going to be a pretty good game. I did see that Pancakes is a Masters player. Turkey Dano, I know, is... he's been a GM for like quite a while now. I think since I started doing CSL at least. So he's a high-level player, and I'll be interested to see what it comes down to.
Yeah. I decided to take charge. I'm that kind of lady. Well, we are gonna see a cannon rush come out from Turkey Dano. Alrighty then. It's not Print F.
Well, Print F once told me at Cheesadelphia that Turkey Dano has all the same builds as me, he just does them slightly worse. And because Print F was super worried when he had to play someone that had beaten Turkey Dano. So I guess there's kind of like a mentor-prodigy thing going on between them, and we'll see if Turkey Dano's cannon rush can make it happen here.
Well, that's exactly what we'll be seeing. The most important thing of Cannon Rush is being able to scout it, which I want to say is highly likely in PvP. We see a lot of probe scouts. Maybe not so much in... Actually, I think every match at Protoss scouts, but coincidentally, Pancakes does no scouting, sees the low ground building, but is already like just trapped himself in. Is this really the best way to deal with it?
Yeah, and Turkey Dano is definitely taking a page out of Print F's book here, loading up cannons, gateways. This is not just, I'm going to make some cannons and try to kill your natural here. This is all out aggression as he continues to put the pressure on at this front.
Oh, right. So Pancakes took a super early Nexus. Which it does actually complicate things a lot. So obviously it puts the 7X core off, which, 2 Stalkers right now would be a huge deal. But, wait a minute. Why did he wall himself? Okay, well, we'll get to that later. But having that Nexus means there's an evacuation path, basically. Like, you could theoretically let yourself go into a a natural base game, but then he walls himself off.
Well, he can recall.
That's a good point. Yeah, actually, then that
So-
way it is a really smart move.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's just counting on his buildings here buying enough time, and Turkey Dano not anticipating that. We will have to see what happens here, because Turkey Dano does have, I think, one zealot out. So one zealot plus the probe can knock down that pylon fairly quickly. Oh no, he doesn't.
Well,
Doesn't
yeah,
have the
but
zealot out.
Pancake's just leaving his probe near the wall off, and is just continuing to wall off. So it would take theoretically forever to get past into Pancake's natural gold base. Which there's the recall you're talking about. Good call. Absolutely perfect here, and it's not a usual response, but it is a type of response with Cannon Rush. Just abandon ship and go somewhere else.
Yeah, and I actually like that he double pylon walled behind it. So if Turkey Dano wants to try to like keep this push going, he has to build more cannons and take out that second pylon and commit to that. And by then there's going to be Immortals out. And this is, I'm really liking this response we're seeing from Pancakes here.
Yeah. They send it up. It looks so practiced too, you know? I don't know if Pancakes has a lot of experience against this on the ladder. Battle on the Boardwalk now, an old map, and honestly not chosen often enough. I would say that, like, is there really that much practice to be done? But he seems to have the perfect strats. Now we do have a Stargate on the way for Turkey Dano, which might just be a brilliant maneuver. Phoenix to take out the Warp Prism, and then Pancakes cannot make any Stalkers to respond. Not yet anyways, as he has not rebuilt his Cybernetic core.
Yeah, has he even started up a... Okay, he did just start up a gateway there. But he's actually going to cancel that, I think, because it was in a kind of a weird position, maybe?
I guess so.
But he's not going to have any gateway units for quite a while. And it's all going to come down to, like, is Turkey Dano making that Oracle, or is he making that Stargate to get an Oracle out? Or is he going to get the Phoenix out and have something to deal with this Immortal drop that's coming his way?
Well, I'd really like the Phoenix, but a Void Ray pops out instead. And I guess, well, the Void Ray can't really chase down the Warp Prism, or shouldn't be able to. It can take a straight up fight. Obviously, Immortals can't do anything about it. So that would eventually tear down Pancake's main base. Or natural base, whatever it is now.
Yeah, can he sniff out, what's going on here, though? Pancakes, that is, because he's continuing to...
Huh.
Excuse me. Continuing with this,
Bless you.
Immortal drop here, and actually a recall coming in from Turkey Dano with the Void Ray. That's so clutch.
So we did see the effect of the recall nerf that I was talking about last game. I said it wasn't really that important, but in the previous iteration, if you recall with a Nexus, it had an instant callback when it got to the Nexus, basically. So you could immediately start shooting when it was at the Nexus. But then they added like a 0.6 or 0.9, either one, delay on it. So you could see that like it didn't attack immediately, which is a big difference maker with the amount of damage a Void Ray can do.
Yeah, where the Void Ray is right now is super important because Pancake's coming back in for the drop here. And if Turkey Dano can pin in this Warp Prism, it almost feels like it's all over. But instead, these Immortals going to be given free reign, and Turkey Dano is going to depower all of these buildings. And suddenly, he looks like he's in a great position.
Yeah. I still don't really know how to call this one, as this Void Ray finally decides to just make its way to the natural. Again, I don't know what to call it. But Pancakes, successfully denying Warp Gate for a while was great, but then he loses the Warp Prism and a second Immortal to a Void Ray and a Stalker. Absolutely not supposed to happen. Not worth delaying Warp Gate in that regard. I thought he was going to have the micro, but without the micro, I think he might just lose here. He's trying to get cannons, but it was a little too late. They're not protecting his tech structures. Not protecting these pylons even.
Yeah, and he's trying to just chrono out these Stalkers one at a time, which is really, really brutal here. The Robo Bays are going to go down. He's still got a little bit of time left. I think he can get one Stalker out maybe before the Cybernetics core goes down.
He could probably start the second one too, but right, like, is it two Stalkers doesn't beat one Void Ray even, right?
No, especially not when you take a bunch of free hits on it initially. Maybe he can kind of like sandbag his position up here with the cannons and like really good micro, but so far Pancakes has shown us that maybe decision making is more of his strong suit than micro.
Oh no, he doesn't have any power. That's the last pylon.
Yeah, already
He's gonna be able to take out the cannons.
Oh, he switches the target fire to the Nexus. That's actually really
What?
good for
Why?
Pancakes here. Yeah, I don't know.
That's very questionable. What? No, he's even being attacked by a cannon. What? Why?
So a little bit of sloppiness from both players. I think this may be a situation that neither of these guys are super used to playing in, but I think Turkey Dano is just definitely getting the upper hand here as a third Void Ray joins up.
Yeah. Overcharge is absolutely going to take care of the Nexus, and I think the Void Rays could even pick away at the cannons as long as they came from like a certain angle, right? Like one or two at a time. Pancakes has lost, I think. He wasn't fast enough to anti-Void Ray measures, and then losing that Warp Prism was just... I mean, it wouldn't have helped with the Void Rays once they made their way to the Nexus, but it probably would have just turned this into a legitimate base trade, like who could kill each other's buildings faster.
Yeah, these Void Rays are going to find the Nexus, and I think that's going to trigger Pancakes to GG. I guess he throws it down because he has the minerals, and it's like, well, you don't really know what kind of position your opponent's in like such a weird game like this, but I have to imagine upon losing this and knowing that Turkey Dano's mining, you just leave the game.
Pancakes no longer has enough minerals to build a Nexus. Feels bad.
Yeah, he's trying to get a Stalker out. I don't think there is a game plan. I think this is one of those moments where it's all over but the crying, because I think for Pancakes it kind of felt like he'd maybe won the game and let it slip through his fingers.
Well, I absolutely think he did win the game with the idea of the gold Nexus, but I think the execution of it was incorrect. And this is just, like, I would not have made any better decisions, like, to be clear. I 100% applaud what he first thought, but I think it's clear now that maybe no second robo, and instead faster into Gateway Cybernetics core, right? But a big thing from this game that was missing was Pancake's scout on the Stargate. He just simply didn't know what Turkey Dano was following up with.
Yeah, and could you imagine if I mean, at one point, like, Pancakes had a pretty great mineral income because all these gold bases. If he'd had, like, 3 Stalkers when the first Void Ray arrived, I think we're looking at a very different game because it gives him more time to maybe reinforce his position, get more Stalkers out, and, his number's allowed to climb instead of being whittled down as more Void Rays come in to join him. And I don't know what you do now as Pancakes. You have no income, you can't get more income, you have 4 Stalkers, and there's 3 Void Rays.
You die. There's actually no dealing with it. If the Immortal is still alive in the Warp Prism, as I was talking about, then a lot of buildings have died as well for Turkey Dano, and you're thinking, okay, maybe I can force out a literal last building survives. But even then, Void Rays simply go to Pancake's base and probably kill his structures faster. So there really was no victory after the Nexus died. It's too bad because he maybe could have had more Stalkers. He maybe could have had his cannons in better position, because if they were protecting the outer edges, it would have been so much more complicated for Turkey Dano to get to that Nexus. But this is the last hurrah.
Yeah, here we go. The probes are going to charge up the ramp first, hopefully, and tank some of the shots while the Stalkers try to find an advantageous position. Good force field comes down from behind. It's going to cut the army of of Pancakes in half. And there it is, the GG.
All right. That ties us up, right? Takes the base match?
Yeah, 2v2. So I think both teams will reveal their ace player when we come back from this break. And we might get to see some more Print F, so don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
but she said, trust me, these are the stories we will tell. As I stood frozen, infinite, I almost fell, but I got a feeling and my heart starts beating, a sudden rush of feeling alive. This is freedom and I won't change, I won't phase out. I know ghosts, let me go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the CSL. We are hopping into our ace match between UConn and Chicago.
Yeah, Print F versus, oh my god, a banana. What a epic ace match you're gonna have here.
I assume this one is going to go pretty quickly, as we already talked about. Print F is a prolific cannon rusher. He's not a player that cannon rushes most games. He is a player that exclusively cannon rushes. And sometimes he will cannon rush into taking your natural and then building carriers at it. But it's always going to end with a cannon rush, or it's always going to start with a cannon rush. And we are loaded into our game, so without further ado, let's hop in and introduce our players. Spawning here in the bottom right-hand side, playing for Chicago and Sloth Esports, it is Oh My God, a Banana.
And in the top left, for the University of Connecticut, it is the Red Protoss Print F.
So Print F throwing down that first pylon. I assume it will be followed by a forge. The probe is already out on the map. OMG, a Banana definitely knows what's coming. So the question is really, how does he respond to it? Because I think everyone kind of has their own particular ways. And he is going to cannon in return. Defensive cannons? I don't see a probe on the map.
That's the thing. It's that it's defensive cannons, which... I don't know. Not a response I've seen so far. I've seen, of course, gateway responses, regular game responses. Even Neeb has done the whole, like, just take a Nexus elsewhere response that we saw last game. But a counter cannon, a counter forge? I don't remember the last time I've seen this.
Well, cannons are a defensive structure. So he's going to be using them defensively, which is their intended purpose here. Print F starting to put the hurt on that pylon. It's actually losing all of its shields, and it's going to start taking some paint damage here as these probes continue to tickle away at it. And that could matter a lot if these cannon is only powered by one pylon.
It's stupid, but it's funny stupid. Like, it could maybe be important. So Print F, of course, while we say he's a cannon rusher and that he's 100% correct, it's not just cannons. The reason this guy can do it 100% of his games is that he has extensions to a cannon rush. You know, if he sees opportunity just on cannons, well, I guess he does it. But if he sees no opportunity to do a purely cannon rush, he will throw down the gateways, Cybernex core, Stargates, Robos, shield batteries, and continue on. And it turns a cannon rush, which people consider to be one of the lowest, easiest forms of cheese to defend against, into a proxy robo, right? Which suddenly is like a lot scary, a lot more legit, except it's not somewhere in your third or fourth, it's right in your face at your natural.
I mean, he has, there are certain maps where he will just take their Nexus and he'll, like, on 2 bases, make like 3 carriers and then just win. And I don't know if it's that it's good or correct, or if just people don't know how to deal with, like, proxy carriers in your natural. But OMG Banana's got his first unit now, and he can start chipping away at this forward pylon. There's another one behind it, so Print F not going to be too worried. We do see the Stargate powering up here. And what is OMG Banana going to do to respond to this?
Not sure, but so far response is with his own shield battery. Void Ray all in, with shield batteries to back it up, are really deadly. And since he saw the Stargate, I'm figuring that's what he thinks it's going to be. Certainly what I think it's going to be. And I guess you just counter with your own shield batteries and wait till your stalker count grows.
Yeah, so he is desperately trying to get out those stalkers. Is OMG a Banana here. Print F is getting his own stalker count up. He's even going for a sentry. That Guardian Shield can help deal with some of the incoming stalker shots from his opponent. Both of these guys have shield batteries. I don't know how many games I've seen where we have shield batteries powering both sides simultaneously until that energy gets drained down. I don't know if any units are ever going to die here, but the first Void Ray is about to be ready from Print F, and I think as soon as that happens, he's going to start trying to find angles he can abuse, because abusing like a map setup is something Print F has historically been very good at.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, that's silly. It's sillier for Print F.
the first fight is starting to come down here. The shield batter is keeping that Void Ray alive as it chips away. OMG a Banana is finding a good position over here on the right-hand side, and he is starting to get some hull damage onto that Void Ray. But, oh, huge pylon takedown there as OMG a Banana tries to get his buildings repowered, but denying Blink is awesome for Print F.
Huh. Huh. Well, this is very complicated, but I feel like Print F just simply has the better end of the trade here. I think, oh my god, Banana, like, cool ideas, and seems to be a very, like, common explanation for me about Print F and defending against some guy, but great ideas, execution's really difficult. Perhaps instead of building on the front lines, risking losing the cannons, because obviously, oh my god, or obviously Print F can always go back to shield battery, because everything oh my god Banana has is right in his face, so I think it made it almost easier for Print F to do this build. Now he's being overly aggressive, but only because he knows he can be. Pulls back into shield batteries when he has to, and this just seems like it is still Print F's game.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, OMG Banana doesn't have enough to start making units. He actually had to pull probes there just to hold on for a moment, and he has no money. There's no more units coming out. OMG or Print F rather is on top of all of Banana's units and structures, and I think that is GG. The series goes to UConn with Print F taking 2 maps.
Nicely done by Print F, carrying his team to victory with those 2 maps, and that'll be a point on the board. Another point on the board for Connecticut, who was 5-2 before the series, now up to 6-2. Chicago goes down to 4-3.
Yeah, so it's going to put him in a great position to make it to those playoffs and potentially the grand finals. That's going to be it for us guys tonight. Thank you, of course, to Twitch for helping to make the CSL possible. And we will see you guys next Tuesday.